Hello, everyone. My name is Manisha Bhattacharya. Today, we are going to meet another powerful personality who is paving the way to an equal world. We have with us Karishma Mehta, the human behind Humans of Bombay. I'm sure everyone who is on social media has seen the Humans of Bombay page. It's essentially a site that tells relatable and moving real stories of people all over India. Stories of dreams, success, failure, love, hope, and more. Karishma was born and raised in Mumbai. She started the Humans of Bombay page when she was just 21, and now, 8 years, close to 7,000 stories, and more than 3.5 million followers later, she has also launched a book and has ventured into crowdfunding to help scores of people. More recently, she was actively involved in COVID relief work during the traumatic second wave in India and raised 2 crores for Hemkund Foundation that helped millions breathe easier. Karishma is an advocate for women in leadership roles and has a strong voice, which especially resonates with women to break the glass ceiling. Let's hear the story of Karishma today.
Thank you so much for having me and that very, very kind introduction. I'm very excited to be here chatting with you. And yeah, I think that as you were speaking, I was just, wondering what I would say or add next. But I think you covered it. So I'm really excited to answer
Yeah.
your questions and add to that.
So, Karishma, Humans of Bombay is a great idea and packed with your incredible storytelling skills, right? So, tell us a little more about your beginning. What inspired you to start this page and what kind of challenges did you face initially?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually started Humans of Bombay at 21. I was 21 years old, but the inspiration from it came, I think, a year or two before that from Humans of New York. I remember being in college where, I stumbled upon a Humans of New York page. Actually, a friend of mine from boarding school had linked me to a story. And I just kept reading his stories for, I think, 2 to 3 hours in college.
Mhm.
And I found myself so hooked on to or captivated by his storytelling skills. And I just wondered, that, I mean, of course, New York is one of the best cities in the world. It's so vibrant. It has people from across, and you can find that sense of relatability, no matter whose journey you're reading about. Um, but I thought that it was very akin to Bombay, and I realized that from where I come from, there are so many stories that have yet to be told, or I don't know about. Right, the dabbawala on the street, or the billionaire for that matter. And on an impulse, I actually kind of logged on to Facebook and looked for Humans of Bombay. And this was when I was in college, and there was nothing. It was not taken. So I think I just of an instinct, or I don't know, gut feeling that you can call it, I blocked it. And I don't know how it happened. I just decided I wanted to start this magazine. It was to be called Knock. That's KNOQ. And Humans of Bombay was supposed to be a tiny little column in that magazine.
Mhm.
Uh, the magazine never happened. Humans of Bombay did. I went on my first shoot on December. It was like quite chilly for Bombay standards. I know there's a huge debate, and people find it funny that Bombay doesn't really have winters, but people in Bombay know that there are winters. Uh, and yeah, I just stepped out as out of college kid who wanted to interview people on the street, and people were just like, no, this is weird. Why are you stopping me on the street and wanting to talk to me? Fair enough. I put myself in those shoes and I'd just be like, no, I'm too busy, whatever. But the ninth or the 10th woman who spoke to me for about 45 minutes to an hour. And she told me how she was recently widowed. She had to start working again to support her family. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody who I don't know has, in the middle of Bombay, spoken to me and opened up her life and her heart to me in a way. And I remember that feeling. That feeling was very, very sharp in my mind that this is what I want to do. And
I think, yeah, I think, thank you for sharing that, Karishma. I think I did have a question in my mind about how do you get people to bare their hearts, but I will come back to that possibly later, because now it's about your calling, because
Yeah.
Humans of Bombay truly was the calling, and I think you had to go through your own little journey of, figuring it out before you actually hit it, right? So that's wonderful, and that actually makes me, ask you, and you've interviewed over 7,000 people at least, at the very least, right? So, I mean, has the Humans of Bombay made it possible for you to talk about, topics that are considered a strict no-no, right? Like, what are some of the core issues and stereotypes that you have come across, especially when it comes to equality and inclusion, and how has our mindset evolved around them? So, essentially,
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, in our broad gamut of work that we kind of have interviewed people from all walks of life, different parts of India. It's called Humans of Bombay, but we say catalogs the beat of humanity because
Mhm,
we're not just from Bombay. It's a pan-India project, pan-India business. Um, I think we've touched upon some very, very taboo topics. So I remember the one of the first few that we done. It was actually also my first crowdfunder, incidentally, was
mhm,
the daughter of a sex worker, and
right.
yes, and what had happened was that the founder of Kranti,
Mhm,
Robin, had
mhm,
contacted, been in touch, and this was back in the day, like two years ago. I mean, I was into the project for like a year and a half,
mhm,
and she contacted me and said that um, these daughters of sex workers have been removed unlawfully from their home
mhm,
because the landlord realized what their background is. So they were thrown on the street, and these are girls from the age of 12 to 22, thrown out on the street middle of the night, no deposit, no money. And I just decided, she said, can you help? I said, I don't really know if it will work because I've never done it, but I'll try. I said, how much do you need? She said, I think 5 lakhs should be okay. I said, okay, let me kind of figure whether I can make it happen. And I went. I interviewed the daughter of a sex worker who said that I don't find what my mother does dirty. I find
mhm.
the men who come to her dirty. So why are you pointing fingers at her? She's doing what she's doing for me to make sure that I don't do it, and I have respect for her. And I then at the bottom wrote exactly what had happened, saying that this is her name. She's the daughter of a sex worker, and these girls have been removed from their home. And she wanted, Robin said 5 lakhs should be okay. In 12 hours, we raised 6.5 lakhs. And uh,
Brilliant.
yeah, and that amount has just, I think, over the years kind of grown as when we ask people to give, they really do give. But outside of that, yeah, we talk about topics like we very often we're fierce advocates of the LGBTQIA community, even though there's still so much hate on these posts. You will be surprised that while there are so many people who are advocating for it, for a free world, love is free and love is for all. There are so many people who bully, who troll, who unfollow us because they find our story, the story that we're telling, unnatural. They abuse these people. We obviously delete and monitor the comments. Um, we've spoken about topics like abortion, where brave women have come forward and said that we did do it and this was our reason and it's our body. That has received so much hate. Outside of that, we've featured women who've had babies out of wedlock, uh,
Right.
and are proud of it and said that we're still carrying on. I'm a single mother today. So I think that we've stood for a lot of everybody has their own journey and the freedom to choose. We're part of the largest democracy in the world.
I mean, I've got goosebumps just listening to you. I mean, this is, you've really touched the essence of human spirit at such a varied spectrum, right? And this is brilliant. And that actually brings to mind another question around, you have seen so much of diversity in the line of your work. So tell us something, that is something that's very memorable. Any of the memorable stories that have led to change in society? I mean, it could be, as you said, LGBTQ, it could be gender equality, disability inclusion, anything else that has really made a big impact on people?
I think so. In terms of direct impact, it's obviously been crowdfunding, right? Like when we
Okay.
raise for, say, like the daughters of sex workers, or we raise for
Mm-hmm.
their education, of course, or like acid attack
Mm.
victims, or people who just have medical conditions and are ill affording. That's impacting. But
Mm-hmm.
just, I would say, if there's one word that really defines impact, it's awareness. I think it begins with awareness, and just really shocking things that you would not expect in the 21st century, that we're like, how are we still here? Menstruation, the taboo around that is ridiculous. And this is from educated families living in Bombay, very super well known, etc., etc., who till date don't allow their daughters to sit on the dining table if they're on their period. And it has happened, and we have told these stories. So I think from a perspective of impact, awareness that this is actually still happening, and we have like miles to go, or like just
Absolutely.
awareness in terms of what goes on, right? Like like what happens, or what do people go through when they're there. You start to understand that it's not just you, it's there's another person involved. So when you make fun of somebody who's gay, you don't know how it affects the person who's actually gay. And we kind of bring that narrative in, that listen
Yeah.
and be compassionate. And I think that awareness drives that. Like the more you read about this, the more you get sensitized, the less you will make that, that stray comment, or pass that loose, judgment
Absolutely. I
people.
think, Karishma, you've touched a really important point, something that's also close to my heart, because I firmly believe that a lot of prejudices stem from irrational fear. And what you the thing that you fear the most is what you know very little about. So what you're doing is significant in terms of spreading awareness. And the more people know about things, the less they have prejudices, biases, or fears. And kudos to you and your team. Honestly, this is great work. So, you talked about helping people through crowdfunding, and that's really inspiring. So, what is that one message that you have to, for to people who want to contribute and make a difference to the society, but they don't know where to begin, right? I think a lot of people are in that space. They want to do something, they just don't know how to, where to begin. What would you tell them?
Honestly speaking, I'm the biggest advocate of you positively impact your immediate contact points, and that eventually spreads in society. So we pledge to kind of say, there was a girl who somebody who's working at HOB. There was a girl in her society who during COVID was removed from school
Mm.
KG because parents lost their jobs. The first thing was remove the girl from school. So she came to me and said that this is what's happening. Can we do something? And I'm like, I don't want to crowdfund this. Let's just pledge to take over her education from now until the 12th grade. And
Brilliant.
we do that at our level. You don't necessarily need to go out there and like really find, oh, I'm going to give to this NGO, I'm going to do that. Just take ownership of the immediate people in your society, and there are so many. It's unreal how many people you can
Absolutely.
impact. Yeah, and I think that a great place to begin is there, in your home, at your work. So even our office boy, his son's education is something that we've pledged to look after until the 12th grade. So just things like that,
Yes,
these.
I could actually think of some more examples, and that some of the things that we have done at a personal level, right? Which could be around getting insurance for your domestic help, or your security guard, or your driver, right? As simple as that. And oftentimes this gets missed out. So I think that's a great point that you bring about. Charity begins from home, they say, right? And and nearby,
Yeah.
nearby your home.
Thank you so
With
much.
this,
This was lovely, and thank you for having me.
thank you so much for that. A very famous quote by American author Napoleon Hill goes, all achievements, all earned riches have their beginning in an idea. And you have been working on an idea that has made a significant difference to a lot of people, and most importantly, given hope that they are not alone. There's so much more for you to accomplish. Wish you great luck with your next ventures and plans. At Accenture, equality is at the heart of everything we do. Being inclusive is a choice, one that we make every single day. And when you and everyone in Accenture join forces, is when we accelerate a culture of equality. So let's join hands and take meaningful actions to create a truly inclusive workplace. With this, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you soon with another Powering Equality Crusader who is taking the lead in creating an equal world. Until then, take care and stay safe. Goodbye.